Hey folks, today we're going to be talking about some common issues when importing and using characters created with Adobe Fuse and Mixamo animations. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you some of the problems that I've had with materials and weight painting. Then I'm going to show you how to fix everything. I hope you are ready and let's get going. Here you can see the three different transparency problems that we have with these materials. Basically, when you import the material, it is setting the material to translucent. And because of that, you're getting these really weird effects like his eye poking out there. So later, I'm going to show you how we fix these problems. So here I'm going into the material for the body. You can kind of see his face in that one material and then in the diffuse. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the main material and change it from translucent to masked. So we'll see that right here. So now that we change it to masked, you could also change it to opaque. Both of them work. You can read more about masked materials if you'd like. I'm going to change it to masked, and then I'm going to go through and update all of the materials associated with this character. So we have a material for the body, the bottom clothing, the upper clothing. Now look, see, no longer do you see the really weird eye anymore. So now you're seeing that the skin material is no longer translucent. So that's a good thing. And also down in the arm area, you no longer are seeing through his skin there. But obviously you can still see this problem here with the gas mask. And that is because that is still set to translucent. You can look up on Mixamo regarding the eyelashes, and that you can fix that too. So here I go through and I fix all of the other materials. Now when I come in and look, you can see that things are looking a lot better. We no longer have, I'm going to talk about that issue right there, but you can see the translucency problem is gone. And the body material looks good. The shirt looks good. The mask looks good. You can no longer see through the mask eyes. In this case, I wanted that to be the case. If you wanted something different, you may have to adjust that. So here, now what I'm doing is I'm going into Blender, and I imported the model into Blender, and I'm looking at the weights that are painted. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to show you why that gas mask had that little dip on the end of it. That little, it was like deforming the gas mask. And it's because that chest piece right there is influencing the gas mask due to the weighting that occurred when I automatically skinned the mesh to the bones. So in this case, what I'm going to do is adjust the weights that are painted on there by setting the strength of the weight. And I'm going to, for the head bone here, I am going to increase the weighting on that gas mask to make sure that it is completely influenced by the head bone rotating. So that way when he rotates his head, then it will completely move that. So I'm going to fix that right here. I am now going to rotate it around, fix the other side. So completely make that a solid color. So that's a strength of 1, which means complete influence from that bone to that part of the mesh. The next thing I'm going to do is go to the spine. And you see the spine is just influencing the lower part of that gas mask. So what I do is lower the strength down to 0, and I paint this all to 0. This way, everything is going to be not influenced by the chest piece. And by doing that, we should stop getting that weird deformation at the bottom of the gas mask. Yep, so now I'm going to export this out and re-import the updated item. So here I'm going to re-import my mesh. This should get in the new weights that were painted. And we are going to look at the... Yep, here I'm going to re-import. Okay, so that got re-imported. Now we look at the gas mask, and you can see no longer do we have that little tail at the bottom because the chest piece is no longer influencing that. So everything looks exactly how it should look now. And that's a good thing. So now we fixed that issue. We fixed the materials. But now let's look at his pants. His pants look super weird because they are getting overly influenced by the upper leg bones. And so his pants are like moving in a really weird way. And then you can see it here in this dyeing animation. It's going to, you can see that stretching. See, I'm slowing it down right there. You can see that really crazy stretching and even see through to the body at that point. So that stretching is not good. And it looks really strange. Now, when I got this from Mixamo animation, it didn't have that issue. But by re-skinning it and reapplying the automated weights, it created this situation. So it's kind of a mixed bag. So here what I try to do is I try to fix the problem by removing, I thought the weights on the shirt were getting influenced by the hip bones, and that shouldn't be the case. So I go ahead and I paint all of these, the shirt vertices, I paint those with the strength back down to 0, hoping that it would fix my issue. And as you will see, it actually does not fix the issue. So here I come back in and I still have this problem. And it almost even looks a little worse now. So I went back and I tried to figure out what was going on. So I'm just looking very closely here to understand why this happened and which part of the mesh. And to me, it looked like a part of the mesh from inside, almost like underneath his shirt, was getting pulled down into, you know, when the bone was moving. So then I went back and I looked even more, trying to figure out what's going on. And I started trying to remove more of it, doing my best to understand why this is happening. And you can see I'm even kind of looking up under the shirt to see if there's something in there. And I just, yep, see, I'm still trying to go in there, trying to get everything from underneath all of those weights painted back down to 0 to avoid getting that influence. Yep, so now I'm doing the left leg. So then I come back in and I look at it again and same issue. So at this point I was pretty frustrated. Still having this problem. So here was the big trick that I learned in Blender that allowed me to clean up those weird deforming textures that I had related to my animation. If you go into Blender and you go into weight paint mode, you can see that right down here there's two different, the default is that you're selecting things by faces, and you can also select by vertex. So when you're looking at your bones on the vertex groups over here, you can choose the different vertex groups, and this is what originally I was playing with. And remember, I kept trying to zero out all these weights, but there were still some that were getting left behind. And the reason is that if I come down here, there's another way to look at this. I select the vertexes, right? And when I select the vertexes, when you're over, whoops. Oh, that was weird. I don't know what I did there. Here we go. Sorry, that's what I meant to do. So when you select the vertexes, what you can do is, so now you're in vertex mode. If you hit A, you select all, hit A again, deselect all. But if you go over to the vertex groups and hit the select button, it's very much like the assignment of faces to materials. If you hit select, this will show you all of the vertexes that are associated with that vertex group. And I'll show you that in the previous version of this model, there were a whole bunch of vertexes up in this area, which were also in the vertex group for the left upper leg and the right upper leg. And because of that, they were getting influenced. And I think they were sort of buried inside the mesh so that I was not able to zero them out correctly. So what I ended up doing is I selected vertex mode. I selected all the vertices. Then I chose this limiting the selection to visible or not, and I turned that off. And I did a border select right here. So let me show you that real quick. So I'm going to load up previous version. So here is the previous version. I'm going to select vertex mode. I'm going to deselect everything. I'm going to come over here. There you go. And when I select the left upper leg, you can see all of these vertices are attached to the left upper leg vertex group. So what I did was I border selected all of these items, and by doing that, if you hit B, I border selected everything here, highlighted all of those, and then I said remove. And that's the big key right here. Removing those vertices from this asset group. And by doing that, it removes all of that influence. And then the shirt and the pants started not being so bizarre looking when the leg was moving. Now, again, I'm not a professional modeler. I'm sure that you could spend a lot of time getting the weights just the way you want them so that they're influenced correctly. For me, I was shooting for a 90-95% acceptance, and that's what I got by doing this. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Yep, so here is the final piece where I actually figured out how to fix this, and I will show you that in just a minute. But these are the final animations after I resolved the strange problem I was having. So that's an electrocution animation I thought was pretty funny. And you can see that the mesh looks pretty good there. Here is just an idle animation running. His pants are moving and his shirt are moving a little bit. In my case, I'm looking for, a 90-95% acceptable, and to me that's good enough. I'm sure if you're a professional it's not good enough, but for me that's going to be good enough. So here, just showing some more animations. It looks like the weight painting that I've done is holding up. We don't have any really strange deformities going on, and the walking animation looks good. The gas mask looks good. And last but not least, the death animation. That looks good. And you can see I slow it down so you can see that stretching is not nearly as pronounced as it was before. And across the board, everything looked pretty good. If you enjoyed today's content, please consider liking and subscribing this video. I spend a lot of time editing and creating this content, and I would really appreciate any other additional ideas you have. And as always, I appreciate your support. Thanks. Have a great day.